on Maui, you have to drive. Like there's no way around it. On Oahu, I'm sure you could speak better to that. I think it's a little more doable without a car.
I didn't ship my car though. I found a beater on like a Facebook group.
Which is what people do, yes. It's an island beater is what it's called, yeah.
Yes, it like had rust on like the hood of it. Like
as long as it goes, yeah.
I had wheels, I got her on the island, and it worked for me for the 3.5 months I was there, you know? I am here with Kailin today, and Kailin is a travel nurse, and so, Kailin, why don't you just get us started, tell us about yourself, kind of maybe touch on your nursing career, and maybe just some fun things about you personally.
So I'm Kailin. I am from Chicago, currently living in New York. I have been a nurse for the last 6 years, and I've been a traveler for the last 3. I come from pediatric critical care, so similar to your story that you were just saying. I come from peds critical care, and now I have just switched to a staff job for adult critical care so that I can eventually, get that on my resume and then travel adults as well.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so I want to double click on that for a second because I know that just like myself as a critical care nurse, I always did pediatrics, and adults are a whole nother ball game. So talk to me kind of about like what made you want to make the switch from peds to adults.
Yeah, I get that question a lot, especially because I'm fresh on this adult job. They're like, why did you switch? And I just don't have a preference. Like a lot of people are, a lot of adult nurses are like, I could never do peds. And then same thing, peds are like, I would never do adults. And I just don't have that. Like I want to be a very well-rounded nurse, and I always want to like have all my skills at the top of my game, etc. So I was like, why not,
Yeah. Hey, that's great. So for you, is it more like, since it's not really peds versus adult that's your thing, or is it more of a specialty thing? Like, are you more focused on critical care, or do you try other specialties too?
That's also a good question. I have traveled a lot of different specialties. So I've gotten to travel like peds neuro, peds hemonc, peds PACU, adult PACU. Like I've actually really hopped around the bunch a lot. Again, just to really get my hands into everything that I can. But I will say critical care is my favorite. Also pediatric neuro is my favorite, but that was also a critical care setting. So it falls under the same vein.
Yeah. And that's interesting to me that you've been able to do all of these different little subspecialties traveling. How have you been able to swing that? Because I know that sometimes it can be hard to get experience in like a new specialty as a traveler.
100%. And that's actually why, so there's certain jumps that I feel like you can make, and there's certain jumps that you can't. So like, for example, I can't just jump to travel adult ICU. I had to go staff for that. So I'll do that, for a year or so, and then I'll be able to travel it. But the nice thing that I found in my experience is that like, if you come from a higher acuity thing, like PICU or, things like that, you can kind of like, they accepted me in peds PACU, no problem. You know what I mean? So because I came from a higher skill level, they knew I was able to like do that one, pick it up quickly. For my peds neuro, I actually interviewed. That was an assignment with Trusted. So it's nice that you get to interview anyways. So I was talking to the manager, and I was just really upfront. I said, listen, I've had neuro patients, I've had EVDs before, I've had certain, seizure precautions, but I've never based on a neuro floor or like a neuro critical care area. So, these are the skills I bring to the table. I'm confident in my abilities, but I also am like willing to be a sponge, willing to learn. And I left it up to the manager, and they were like, no, you sound like a great fit. And so I was able to kind of advocate for myself in that sense. And ended up literally being one of my favorite assignments. Like, it was so badass. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, but I did. So
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, and really it comes down to being transparent, right? Like, these are the skills I have. This is what I'm comfortable with. This is stuff that I'm like willing to learn. And if they have an environment where they can train you on that, then awesome. Like, that's a great opportunity to grow your skill set while you're traveling.
yeah.
Because I know I was traveling and I had only done pediatric ER. Like, that was the only thing that I had a background in, like staff and travel. And I took after a Pete's ER job in Boston, I took a staff job on a critical care transport team.
Hmm.
And so I took all of that training in transport. And then I was like, okay, after about a year and a half, I was like, all right, I'm ready to travel again. And then I could travel in pediatric ICU, no problem. And so I was able to kind of make a transition that way. And really, I don't know how you feel about this, but at first in my head, I was like, wow, okay, staying in 1 year or in one place for a whole year seems like a really long time. After
Yeah.
I was like traveling, like moving every like 3 months. But it was totally worth it to get that experience. And like once I was like in that year, it didn't feel like that long of a time once I was actually in it.
100%. I'm definitely in the same boat. I was the traveler who was like 3 months, maybe six in the same place, and then I'm out. Like, I got places on my list that I want to travel to. And I have spent a couple, like, I've spent lengthier times at certain assignments. So I realized that, like, there is no rush. Like, I don't have to leave every 3 months if I don't want to. Like, the places that I want to continue on my list are not going anywhere, right? So I kind of allowed myself to slow down a little bit. And even though, yes, it seems like, I'm saying I'll get my year in for this adult ICU position, and that does actually feel like a very long time. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, this is going to be crazy. But I'm almost thinking about it as a travel assignment. Like, I'm like, okay, I've already done my first 3 months, like, I'm in it. And now my next block, like, I'll extend, So I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it like that so that it's more munchable for my brain.
Yeah, definitely. And so what's the longest that you've extended in one of your travel locations?
As a traveler, it was 9 months. That was in Los
Okay.
Angeles.
Okay. And was Los Angeles your favorite location so far, or was there another favorite stop along the way?
No, I was in Maui for 6 months.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Hawaii takes the cake, of course. I literally miss it like every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that so much. I took an assignment on Oahu and it was the best like 4 months of my entire life.
Oh, it's literally gorgeous. And just like thinking that, like, that was my home, like when I would have to come back to Chicago, like I flew back, every once in a while for like a big holiday or big event. Um, and I'd be flying back to Maui and everyone was like on their honeymoon or like, I'd be on a plane. They're like, oh, it's vacation. Who's ready? I'm like, actually, I'm going home.
Right.
And so it was just like so much fun to live there. And literally the only reason I left was because I travel with my dog. And I could not bring him to Hawaii because it's really hard, fun fact, to get animals into Hawaii.
Mhm.
They have like this whole quarantine process, yada, yada. So I was not able to bring him. And after 6 months, I was literally like dying without him. I was like, I need him here. He goes on every single travel assignment with me. So that's the only reason I came back. Otherwise, I would probably still be there right now.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like the logistics of getting an assignment in Hawaii are something that's a bit different from other assignments. And like we can talk about that for a second because I know that so many travel nurses, like Hawaii is somewhere on their list. And I think that it can feel like a big assignment to go and do because there is that question of like, okay, if I have a pet, like I don't know, like probably not going with you because of what you just mentioned. Like logistically, it's just really difficult to go with an animal. And then there's the question of like car and like if you usually pack up, like fill up your car between
Mhm.
assignments, like you're probably not taking your car, but then like are you just packing a suitcase? Like what are you bringing with you? Like, how did some of those things work for you as you thought about getting to Hawaii?
Yeah. So that's actually, it's bringing back all the memories. Cause yeah, this was a lot of like way in, way out. So I would say if you have an animal, you absolutely can bring them. You just have to plan far enough in advance. So you have to get all this lab work done. Well, it's like two tubes that you have to draw, or not you, but like, okay. So the vet has to draw like a couple tubes, and they have to get them sent out specialty. So it takes a couple of weeks. And then the quarantine period starts from the date that the test is read. So it's the rabies test, and like your animal has to be negative from the blood test. And then 4 months from the date of that blood test, that red negative, is when they're eligible to enter the state. So if you plan, oh, I want to go to Hawaii in the next 6 months, just start your process early so that your animal can be like ready to rock with you. I did not plan that far in advance. I planned like a month, and I was like, yeah, it should be fine. No. So it's doable. You just have to really be like forward thinking, cap on. I shipped my car there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I also, because you cannot, well, it depends. On Maui, you have to drive. Like there's no way around it. On Oahu, I'm sure you could speak better to that. I think it's a little more doable without a car.
Yeah.
But
If you're on Oahu but you're staying in like Waikiki, it's very walkable, bikes, whatever. But like if you want to explore more of the island, like I really loved having a car. I didn't ship my car though. I found a beater on like a Facebook group.
which is
I
what
mean,
people do. Yes. It's an island beater is what it's called. Yeah.
yes, it like had rust on like the hood of it. Like
As long as it goes. Yeah.
I had some like tie like soft like surfboard straps that went through like the top windows of this little like Honda sedan. Like I looked ridiculous, but I had wheels. I got her on the island, and it worked for me for the 3.5 months I was there, you know?
Yes. And that's so the only reason I went in 2021. So it was still like COVID town, like
Mm-hmm.
there was not like many tourists on the island at all. And so when I was trying to, do my research ahead of time, being like, should I ship my car or can I get an island beater? They were like, there's been no island beaters available because no one's here to like have or give away their cars or like all that stuff. So it was like a car scarcity on the island, which is like so funny. But that like left me no choice, because otherwise I just would have, bought one of those. But it just worked out that I ended up shipping my own car. So that was fun.
Yeah, there's some logistics involved with getting to Hawaii for sure, but it works out. And
So worth it.
I don't know about you. I took like I think I checked one like large bag and brought like a carry-on bag because I knew I would want that for like a trip home here and there.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's so hot. It's not like you're packing like bulky sweaters to go to Hawaii. Like you can
Literally,
fit a lot
yeah.
into a big
Yeah,
suitcase.
dude, yeah. And the biggest thing is like, don't dress like a tourist. So you're not bringing all these like large flower dresses. Like you're wearing like a t-shirt and shorts and your bathing suit. And like,
Yeah.
that's it. You buy your snorkel gear while you're there. You buy your surfboard while you're there. Like all of the above. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Hawaii tops the list for travel assignments.
Yes.
I'm with you on that. Was there a worst travel assignment?
I mean, I went to like DC and I just didn't like DC. But it wasn't specifically because of set assignment. It's just like some areas you vibe with and some you don't. And I
Yeah.
feel like, that just like wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. Didn't love it. I was also, again, I started traveling literally day one of COVID. So it's like the world shut down in March of 2020. I left end of March 2020 to like dive into the travel scene.
Wow, yeah.
So I was also in DC when all of like the riots were happening and all that stuff. So it was actually like really unsafe. It just like there was a lot of factors where I was like, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy time. I mean, we were literally like in the middle of history when it was happening. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of different factors swirling around that to maybe make it just overall feel not so good.
Yeah.
Well, so are you on contract right now?
No, so I am. That's actually what brought me to New York was a travel assignment, and then I just ended up loving it here so much that I decided because I have already been in New York for a year and a
Okay.
half.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer because I really like New York. So I might as well go staff, get another
Right.
specialty under my belt. And then when I'm ready to travel again, I will. Um,
Okay.
but the thing is I can stay a traveler in New York. So when I'm done with my year here, like, because New York is not my home.
Hmm.
Um, so it would still be, I can go right back into travel in New York and like stay here for as long as I want.
Yeah. Nice. Good for you. And so is traveling, and I guess just like travel assignments, is that kind of your mid to long term plan right now with your career?
Yeah, I have a very long medical career in front of me actually. Um, but I eventually plan when I go back to school, I'm going to go back to med school
Okay.
instead of going like the NP route or anything like that. Um, but I'm not done being a nurse yet. Um, so there's still more specialties I want to dive into. I want to get into like flight nursing. I want to get into like all these things that require critical care. And if I have critical
Mhm.
care in both pediatrics and adults, it's just going to make me like that much more eligible and all of that stuff. So I want to stay a traveler for as long as I can because I don't think I'm staff at heart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so like if I need to go staff for like a hot second, I will and I am. But for the foreseeable future, we're gonna travel a little bit longer because I still have all these places on my list that I want to go to. Like I've been fortunate enough to live all over the country already, but I still want to hit like Boston. I'll probably go back to California. I'll go back to Hawaii. There's still things that I haven't gotten to check off my list yet, so we're not done.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. It sounds like you're very passionate about what you do if you're looking ahead at a long road in the medical world and, that really fires you up. I think that's amazing. Well, I am gonna let you go, Kaylin, but I am so glad that you came on and chatted with us today. I'm glad that we got to share some things about traveling to Hawaii and, favorite assignments. So this was a good time. We'll have to do it again sometime in the future and see where you're at.
I'm so down. Thank you for having me.
Of course.